Slacktivism, to me, is describes getting involved with something by taking some sort of an action which actually really doesn't produce much of a change at all, other than sort of the frame that we sort of consider ourselves as like, oh yeah, I'm involved in that organization or that cause because I clicked on a thumbs up, or perhaps put a sticker on my bag or something like that to make us feel as though we're advancing the cause. I think under the umbrella of awareness raising is where a lot of slacktivism happens, and there is a value to raising awareness. It's oftentimes the first step in actually advancing change, but it by no means will get things done. That became quite clear to me when talking with somebody who runs Genocide Intervention Network, and he said, you can raise awareness about genocide, and a lot of people can know that it's happening, but that doesn't stop the killing. So there's actually things you have to do to intercede and to act that causes real change.
I see opportunity. I mean, a slacktivist is someone who may not be an uber-engaged person, may not be someone who is a converted or self-described activist, someone who spends their life pursuing social justice or working on causes. But a lot of people do stumble into moments in their life through situations that just happen where they can actually get involved. And so I see a slacktivist as someone who we want to, for anyone who's worked in nonprofits or in organizing, you've heard of the ladder of engagement, right? So you get someone in. If the click is the way to get them in, and capturing their email address is that first step, we want to be able to give them the ladder of engagement to get them from someone who just casually takes action or likes something on Facebook to, hey, there's an event in my neighborhood I can attend. Oh, I can become a donor. I can become an activist. I can spread this to my friends. So when I hear, we'll talk more about it, but slacktivism to me equals opportunity.
I don't know that it's necessarily a new phenomenon that people are lazier or than they were in the past, or more or less prone to be an activist than they were in the past. And I don't necessarily think that this new technology, makes them more or less of an activist, but the opportunity, the idea that you can get somebody to take that first step, and that you can get people more aware of whatever it is that you're trying to make them aware of, is suddenly a lot more available than it ever was, at least on the type of scale that we now see with social media.
You totally busted over my head. I was actually going to go back and ask you that question of, with all the activism and engagement, is it, you had mentioned a lot of the things that you're working with are the conversations, and just all across the board, there's also a technology issue. So is it the relationships that people have that spur the action, or is it the ease of entry through the technology that spurs the action?
I think it's relationships that spur the action, but technology, can build the relationship.
So people are just naturally apathetic, and they're just,
Well, that's a philosophical question. I don't know the answer to that.
Matt, what do you think about between, as the bar of entry is continuing to be lower, is it more of does it become much more of, technology have to keep adapting so that it's even lower for someone to get involved, or is everything going to be more relationship pushed? Do people actually care about issues anymore? Is it really just you're doing it because your friend sent you the Facebook link and it's a lot easier to do it that way?
I think the entire internet is just going to be one like button. One from now on, and you just, I like it. The issue, and I'm sure you guys talk about this in business school all the time, like the amount of noise that there is when you're talking about marketing, you're talking about getting people involved. There are so many opportunities to take action on something, or to buy something, or to do something, and there's all these different messages coming at you every second to do something. So I think the relationship piece is what can sort of cut through the noise, and if a trusted friend sends you something and says, hey, this is something you need to pay attention to, then obviously it's going to be the thing that rises up to the top of your list of things to look at. The technology, we'll talk more about it, but obviously the PDA, the fact that we're all connected all the time, the fact that we tell people via Foursquare and places on Facebook where we are, what we're doing at every minute. I've already checked in here in your school, which is lame. I'm sorry. But there's such an opportunity. So the technology, it needs to be both the technology getting people involved, coming to where the people are, but also it has to always be about relationships, because that's what's going to continue to cut through the noise and make you actually do something.
Brian, you want to add a little on that?
Sure. So I come to work every morning and say that gay rights matters to no one. And pardon the hyperbole, but gay rights actually only really matters to a very small portion of the population. Like, really matters. As does almost for any issue, you're going to have a bell curve with some people that have signed up for whether it's the NRDC or Planned Parenthood or the NRA, whatever it is, and then a whole bunch of people who sort of like pay attention but don't care. So think about how likely, if you're in that bell curve of people that might say, yeah, sure, I'm totally pro-gun control, whatever it is. How likely are you to actually give your email to that organization? Probably not very likely. However, if a friend asks you to do it, you'd be more likely. And in our case, I think we're testing out this new model. If I said, let's pretend we're best friends. We'll all be Facebook friends by the end of this panel. Let's pretend we're best friends. And I say to you, guys, I can be fired legally in 29 states. And it's possible that one of your senators is holding up a bill that will protect me from being legally fired just for being gay in 29 states. I need you to do something for me to help me get the same rights as you, assuming you're straight. Which may not be true. The point is, there's something very compelling about saying, you can help your friend, which all of a sudden is now going to make gay rights matter to you a lot, because it's about your friend. So I assume that gay rights in and of themselves matter to very few people a lot, but that their gay friends do. So this is the concept we're testing out, and it might be applicable to other issues. We're just focusing on one right now.
I saved this for the end of the panel, but anyone who tells you they're an expert in social media is lying to you, because it truly is the Wild West, and these things are being developed. There are people who read more about it and think more about it, but there's no one who's truly an expert. But to your point about, don't read my bio. I made a lot of it.
I didn't like having that show earlier. So,
But drawing from other professions and looking at psychiatry, psychology, and why people do things. Drawing from all of the human experiences and really thinking that. That's probably the smartest thing you can do when you think about engaging people. And as I said before, just to hammer on the point, it is about developing relationships. Whether you're a business looking for new customers, whether you're an advocacy organization looking for new donors, or you're us looking for people to click once so they can get involved. It's about developing a relationship the same way you would